I think that mental health means being able to approach everything in life without having an heavy burden that it's gonna kind of overwhelm you and make you not live properly your life. So I think that having the mental health, it means in a very layman terms, probably being at peace with yourself. So yeah.
I am a physician specializing in mental health, and I am the Chief Mental Health Officer at TELUS Health. And today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing Vanni Sartini. Some would describe as the most charismatic coach in North American soccer. He is the head coach of the Whitecaps Football Club, and so it's a privilege for me to
Oh,
be able
it's a
to
pleasure.
chat
It's a
with you
pleasure
today.
to be here. Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about mental health, and I had the honor of chatting with you earlier before we started, and just learned so much about your history and your approach with your team. I think you have a very unique way of bringing out excellence in people. So maybe the first question I'll start with is, tell me what mental health means to you.
It's a very big question. The everything means in a way that I think that mental health means being able to approach everything in life without having an heavy burden that it's gonna kind of overwhelm you and make you not live properly your life. So I think that having the mental health, it means in a very layman terms, probably being at peace with yourself. So yeah, kind of like this.
Yeah, and when we talked earlier, you shared with me a lot of your style working with your team, and I said to you, you know, that sounds like mental health actually. You want to maybe talk a little bit about that, your approach to your team, how you coach people, how you teach people?
Yeah, it's the approach that we use. The word that I use a lot every time is the word care. It's like you need to care about the game. You need to care about your profession because we are here to strive for excellence. But you need to care about the people that are working with you and treat them like people, not only like athletes or coaches or member of a staff. So the big approach here is to really don't be afraid to show that you care, because caring means that you are working very hard to be excellent on the pitch, working very hard to find solution to be a better team, but also be in a way that you understand the needs of the people next to you. You want the people next to you to succeed. You being having empathy for the people next to you, and this is the way that is helpful in order to have a good communication, having a way of being honest and open with each other, and try to achieve success together.
I remember you telling me earlier that sometimes people misinterpret care as being weak
Yes.
or being not up to the task. Can you tell me more about that, what you meant by that?
Yeah, most of the time, in order to show that you care, you need also to be vulnerable. I think that most important thing, especially in a person that is in my position, is to really be true to yourself when you are with people, with players, with everyone, and showing them that being true to yourself, that you care about them, that you care about what you're trying to do, sometimes can, I would say, project in the head of the people that they do this idea of, hey, I'm not looking strong enough, I'm not looking hard enough, and since I am a leader I need to be strong, I need to be hard, or I'm not looking, I would say, so convinced in my conviction because I'm gonna take advice from other people or something like this. I think that the fact of seeing this as a sign of weakness is a big mistake. I think it's a sign of strength, because it means that you're able to be true to yourself, true to your conviction, but also open to everyone else, and also respectful and empathic towards the other people that are around you, in order to make them, I would say, happy and in a position to succeed.
Wow, that is amazing. So as a doctor, to hear you say, because you're at the highest level of the sport, right? To hear you say that caring and being vulnerable is a way to show strength. Wow.
Yeah, I think I I had a very haha moment in my career as a coach for this. So it was 2013. It was in my first big job. I was still in Italy, and I was an assistant coach in a Serie A team in the top division in Italy. And before that, I had a successful career as a lower division coach. I win a couple of tournaments. I never coached at that level. So this guy, the head coach, hired me to be his assistant coach, and I was literally astonished by how he was open to any suggestion from every people, and how he was always, I would say, respectful for any opinion, and I would say also always thinking about what do you think about this, what do you think about this, what do you think about this, and not only for a gimmick, it was for real. And I thought, wait, I've been so stupid so far, because when you're a young coach, you work a lot, you want to try to go, and you say, when everyone tried to tell you something, no, hey, I got it. No, it's not the right approach. And seeing how being open could have been a sign of strength, because he was very strong in the locker room. The player would have done everything for him. It made me having like a huge realization, say, you know what? He's being himself. I need to be the true self at every moment in order to, I would say, be a recognized quote unquote leader for any group that I'm going to lead in the future.
Yeah. Openness is just so critical in mental health. In my career, I've seen people close up when they talk about mental health. There's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of barriers about being honest about mental health. There's a lot of like hiding. Hiding yourself, hiding your authentic self, and you've talked a lot about being your true self.
Yes.
And sharing that true self with other people.
Yeah, I think it's it's for some people comes a little bit natural, I would say. For some other, it's gonna be having a little work on yourself and try to break this kind of barrier that sometimes you create for yourself. But the most important thing, I would say, for people in my position, for people that are, I would say, lucky to be in a position where they can kind of set the tone of a room, because you are the head coach, and so by definition they have to follow what you tell. You need to set a culture of openness, to set a culture of, guys, we need to be open to tell each other everything. We need to be respectful of each other, and being respectful of each other, it means that you need to be open with each other, because the only way for me to really ask 100% from you, it's if you feel safe, if you feel good in this environment, if you feel that you're respected as a person before that respected as an athlete. So it doesn't harm to be very, for me, open to people, and in order to receive openness back.
So I was joking with Coach Sartini earlier that he'd be a great psychologist. So I noticed today we're at the campus of the University of British Columbia. I don't know if we're in the position to issue honorary degrees or honorary PhDs. I think you'd probably be a great candidate for one. Tell me about those times when someone is more closed. And you can tell, because I can tell you're very skilled at seeing into how human beings are feeling and how it's affecting their performance. Tell me about it. Maybe some times where someone has been more closed. You can tell that they're struggling, though.
Yeah.
How do you convince them to open up and share with you and help you unlock the problem?
Yeah, there's a lot of, everyone has this moment in their life. I have this moment in my life, because, of course, much better than me, but mental health, it doesn't mean to be happy every time. Mental health, it means to be okay when you're sad, if it's normal to be sad, or if you're down, if it's normal to be down, because something happens to you during the day. So everyone has this kind of moment where, because he received the criticism and he gonna go a little inside and close himself up, or because he has a problem outside the field and you don't know, because of course you cannot be on top of everyone's life. The quote unquote strategy that I use, first of all, the main thing is to care and recognize that if someone is kind of in trouble, we want to help him not only because he's useful, because helping him help the team, no, but we also help him because we care about that person. And the other thing is that for me, recognize the best way to communicate with that person. And sometimes, to be honest, the best way is for me to delegate someone else to communicate, or sometimes the best way is to intervene. I give you an example. That's the reason why I always wanted in my staff someone who, I didn't play soccer at the highest level, but I want to have in my staff always someone who played at least a game at the level that the guys are playing now, because an ex-player can relate maybe better with something that a player in this moment is feeling. Culturally, also, there's a lot of things like, a guy that is come from a different culture, you need to recognize that someone doesn't like to be talk in front of each other. Someone needs a 1v1 chat. A lot of young kids now, I call it young kids, maybe they're not, but they're young kids for me. They're 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. It's much easier with them to engage through a text message than to talk with them. The most important thing, whatever the strategy you choose and you deem the most, I would say, successful, is to really be there and say, being ready to listen first and then to talk later. So as you can tell, I like a lot to talk, but one of the skill that I think you need to develop if you really care about people is to listen about people, because without understanding what's their quote unquote problem, what's their situation, you cannot help them.
Seriously, someone get this man the honorary psychology degree, because so many of the themes that you brought out are so critical in the work that I do and my team does, in mental health every day. The importance of communicating, the importance of having lived experience. You talked about, someone that's played at a high level is probably going to be able to have an easier time getting through to someone that's struggling at a high level. That's important in mental health as well, is having a variety of different people to work with that have had that lived experience. You talked about texting people sometimes, right? And that's really important these days too, right? It's like there's one-on-one talking like we're doing right now. That's a type of mental health support and therapy. But other people, might prefer to do it by text, or they're doing direct messages, or they're doing video chat. And so there's a lot of different ways to reach people. You talked about languages, cultures. Well, that's huge, right?
That's another thing. So I like, because I'm just I don't know what to say, I'm a culture junkie. I want to know everything. So he
speaks like 50 languages. Maybe 49 languages, but I'm exaggerating.
But I wish. The thing that also I like when I know about things like if I have a player from, I don't know, Uruguay, a player from Japan, just to know something about their culture, just to know, being able to communicate to them in their languages, everything that can help, I would say, having a connection. I think it put everyone at ease, because, when you come in a group, like here in soccer, of course, but in every work group, you're here, you are just almost a number or a function in a group of 30, 40, 50 people. And the more you be treated as a individual, as a person, as someone that is unique, because everyone is unique, I think the better it is, in order also to arrive to a common kind of goal like we have here. Because here we work together towards a common goal. We try to be, we have to follow same rules. I call it rules, the way that we play. If someone does something, someone needs to do something according to that. The only way to make someone like doing it is that everyone needs to buy in this philosophy, this way of things, this culture, this way of playing when we go on the field. And the only way to do it is literally, I would say, trying to spend in time and explain everyone why we do it, because everyone can have a different motivation to why to do it.
You know, something that really resonated with me that you were saying is treating people like a person,
Yeah.
right? Treating them like a human being and not just a number or a function. And I think you mentioned to me earlier, you're learning Japanese.
Yeah.
So you're trying to inculcate yourself into the language and the culture.
Yeah. You know, I like to learn and I would say also socialize with people. When I came here to Vancouver, I wanted to meet people also outside soccer world. So that's the reason why I went to Japanese class. But that again came in handy because we signed a Japanese player this year, and I can speak with him, and I can be even more I would say helpful for his integration in the team with the other guys. The same happened to me with the guys that are speaking Spanish. I speak Spanish, so, and it doesn't mean that you have to, but if you're able to, you don't have to be, again, scared to show people that you care. Because in this way, that's the only, I'm really, really adamant about this. That's the only way to almost, I would say, being sure that they will care too. Because it's like, the only way to be open, in my opinion, to really even being hard sometimes, harsh, because if someone make a mistake or someone and being open on that, because they know that, I know it's a very big, I want to say I care about them. I wanted to say I love them, but it's like love. Like, yeah, you know, they know I care about them. They know that I really want them to succeed, and that's and they know that this one also care is not only towards the individual but as the group as we represent. And that's the only way for me when you're able to be also hard when you need to be hard.
Yeah. So I've heard a number of themes from you, like about caring, about treating people like, you know, a person, you know, being culturally aware, learning the language. What more support do you think people need in high level athletics and, you know, in terms of mental health support? Where do you think the gaps are? What's missing?
I don't know what's missing, but, you know, I think sometimes we forget that we deal with very young individuals. I think that sometimes we forget that those are guys that we treat them like experienced person, but they're 23, 24, 25. And when we relate to a 23, 24, 25-year-old in normal life, we always think about, oh, they're a young kid, they need to grow, we want the soccer player to be already grown man. I think we need to, I'd say, remind this, and again, to be able to help them in this, I would say, growth as a person, not only as a player. Another area that, of course, it's different than any other area, any other job, is the fact that you're a public persona. So a lot of time you need to deal with, criticism, social media, everything. You can have a lot of things that can be heavy. And again, here the best thing is for me to help the player deal in the way that they want to deal it. Because again, I'm totally against who say, no, you shouldn't have an account, you shouldn't have this because you don't have to read anything. I'm the opposite. I read everything. I read every time when we lose, and I would let you read.
That's brave.
What they tell you about me, people, every time. So I read, but you know, that's the person who I am, because I also kind of I make a laugh or whatever, but also it makes me, I would say, also 1,000 times more happy when I read something that is beautiful. If someone deals with things in their life in a different way, he needs to do it differently, and we would need to support them. We should support all the guys to understand which is the best way for their own person on how to deal with it.
Yeah, like I mean, this comes up in my work all the time with young people and more experienced people. This idea of like, how do you cope with everything that's going on online? You know,
Yeah.
the news, the social media, criticism, you know, even hatred
Yeah.
online. Like, how do you know? So you've said you choose to actually to see that and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
open to that. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, you know, if I tell you that it doesn't affect you, I would be a liar. If someone says, I read after, yeah, of course we lost because Vanni sucks as a coach. And then if I would tell you that it doesn't affect, even if I don't know that person and maybe that person, he doesn't know anything about the game, of course it affects me. Of course I'm sad if I read something like this. But I think that, and to allow myself to be sad on this, it's also for me part of my mental health. Like it's part of dealing with emotion. It's like to be really open on the fact that if you decide to live, in my opinion, in a public stage, you need to accept that you're in the public eye every day, and you don't need to be scared to feel like you are down if you see that the fans, they think you're not doing a good job, because it's true. And so it could be even a motivation to do better. Like on the other way around, when I see, I don't know, a video of me signing the contract and they have 200 comments that they are positive, of course I'm walking on the clouds. Like that's for me, that's normal. Again, probably being unfortunately or 47 years old now, and it makes me having more instrument than a 20-year-old at dealing with that. So we need to be, I would say, always on top of things if we see that someone is overly affected by that, in order to give him help. Not only myself as a person, but if they need the help of an expert on that and on how to deal, because everyone can deal with this thing in a different way.
You know, and that's something I think my team strives to do for people around the world, is to meet people where they're at, support their mental health,
Yeah.
help them understand that not every day is a good day.
Yeah.
We are humans, and we experience ups and we experience downs, and sometimes we're very happy and sometimes we're very sad, and that's all part of mental health as well. And I love the way that you've put that. If there was something that you could share with the folks that are listening in today about mental health, something that you think is really critical about mental health, what would it be? What would you tell them?
It's hard, well, a lot. Like again, for me, something that is critical is to really try to be true with yourself. Like that's for me the most critical thing. Like the most the part that try to I would say bring something that to the person, that the real yourself. And that's for me the only way, that if you don't like something about yourself, if you're really showed your true colors, and if you come out with your true colors, maybe you can work on the thing that you don't like about yourself, because that's totally fine to have something that you don't like about yourself. Like give you an example. I always thought that I was always good in communicating with my peers and the coaches, the players. I felt that I was very bad, and I had some problem even in the last years to misunderstanding or something, because on how to communicate with people that in the hierarchy of the club are above me. Mm-hmm. And that affected also everything, because affect your mental health too, because you're feeling down when you shouldn't feel down, or you're feeling angry when you shouldn't feeling angry, and trying to have an honest analysis of what the things are happening in your life and you don't like, you can make some kind of change. And that's the reason why I changed a couple of things. Like I try to involve more people in my communication. I try to be even more open with everyone, and things are getting better. That's on a, I would say, kind of on a function level. On a deeper level, that would be again, the first thing is like to again, care. And the first I say every time that you need to care about everyone, but you need to care about yourself first. And if you care about yourself, and if you think that you're in a bad spot, there's no shame in asking for help.
I think that's a great point to end this conversation on, right? That, there's no shame in asking for help.
Yeah.
It takes courage to ask for help, but it's so crucial. And it's also just phenomenal to hear someone like yourself that's performing at the very highest levels to also show some vulnerability and share that there are some things that you're working on right now too.
Yeah, of course.
To try to be better. So for the rest of us, that self-improvement, is continuous, right? That's important.
Yeah.
But also, being vulnerable, and having the courage to seek help, and that is that's so important for everyone. So thank you so much for sharing all of this. This has been absolutely phenomenal, fantastic. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
You've already had an amazing season,
Yeah.
so I hope that continues.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the work that you guys are doing.